website Gawker was in court this week defending itself against a $100 million lawsuit brought by wrestler Hulk Hogan. Adam Riley has more.
Hulk Hogan says Gawker invaded his privacy and caused acute emotional distress by publishing a 1-minute video of him having sex with his best friend's wife back in 2012. Gawker says it's protected by the First Amendment and that Hogan had already made his sex life a topic of public conversation. But what really stood out in this week's proceedings was former Gawker editor A.J. Delario's statement in a sworn deposition that was previously recorded that when it comes to sex tapes, anything goes.
Can you imagine a situation where a celebrity sex tape would not be newsworthy?
If they were a child.
Under what age?
4.
Gawker later said in a statement that Delario was joking, which wouldn't be too smart since a Hogan win could put Gawker out of business.
This guy is despicable. I mean, Delario, as is the website for the most part. However, Hulk Hogan is a public figure. I mean, how he ever got himself into a position where there was even a sex tape made, he probably knew about it. He probably knew. So, I mean, when you create a situation like that, you're likely to suffer the consequences.
Well, I mean, there's no threat to the First Amendment if Hulk Hogan wins his invasion of privacy suit. The fact that he's a public figure makes it more difficult for him to win the suit, but it's not impossible for him to win, nor should it be impossible. And, frankly, I think he'd make a fine publisher of Gawker. I'd like to see what he would do with
because they're saying it could shut the site down.
Yeah, it absolutely could.
Yeah.
I don't know. I am a big privacy booster, but I think that this could creep right up to the First Amendment issues, and I have to agree with whomever wrote the analysis and said it's just that you don't like him, so you don't want it. And I thought, well, that's true. So I'll fess up to
Hulk,
that. Hulk Hogan. And by the way, he had permission to have sex with the friend.
I know.
I don't
but
get it.
Did he have permission to take a video too?
I guess so. If you have permission to have sex with the woman, I guess you have permission to tape it.
It's First Amendment cases often come down to some very unfortunate circumstances. I think whether this has an impact on the First Amendment will come down to how the judge rules. It's possible to have a very narrow ruling that would just apply to the circumstances of the case, or something that is much broader. Privacy is something that is very much a live issue in the courts right now. I'm usually in a position of defending Gawker on this panel, and that I think that they do a lot of good, interesting work. This is a situation where that's really hard to do, so I won't even try.
Yeah, I certainly am not qualified to comment on the legal issues here, but in a broader sense, narcissistic vermin like Nick Denton and Delorio should not be allowed to use the First Amendment as a shield for their self-aggrandizing garbage. With the rights of the First Amendment comes responsibility. That is something this particular organization does not acknowledge. And perhaps they need to be forced to at the point of a gavel.
Well, as you know, Delorio says anything goes. By the way, he was also among the people who linked to the Erin Andrews video showing her naked, behind the hotel room. He was not part of the lawsuit, which she won last week, but he made that video available too.
Yeah, another
but
fine
he got it
piece
from
of
someplace
journalism.
else.
Yeah, I know.
The legal standard of cases like this is usually, would a reasonable person be outraged at what was done in this situation? And it certainly seems to me that a jury could find that this was outrageous behavior.
And keep in mind, there are good journalists who work for this corporation, particularly at its sister sites Deadspin and Gizmodo. Some very good people, and I feel bad for what's about to happen to them. But this creature, Delorio, he also responded to the plea for relief from a woman, and not a celebrity, who was somehow videotaped having sex in a toilet in a bathroom stall, and they posted the video. She begged for them to take it down, and his response to her was blah, blah, blah.
Okay. All right, nice.